Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm really excited to be sharing with you 5 tips or 5 things, let's say, that I wish I knew at 20 or at least in my 20s. I've recently turned 32 and I've been reflecting on some of the lessons that I've learned and some of the things that I wish I had done earlier or sooner. And so I really want to share these 5 things with you so that maybe you can level up earlier and sooner and live a more fulfilling, more full, more authentic life early on. Okay, let's get into it. Tip number 1 is to start the thing earlier. Whatever it is you have in your mind that you want to do at some point in the future, just do it now. If you're thinking, oh, it would be so cool to start a YouTube channel, for example, just do it. Don't overthink it. Don't wait until you're ready. Don't wait until you have the right gear or until you know what you're going to be talking about or until you know what your niche is. It doesn't matter. Just start talking about whatever it is you're passionate about and things will start to emerge. You'll start to step into what it is you truly want to be talking about or known for. But until you start doing the thing, you won't know anything. Like you won't have any feedback or information about whether that thing is actually something you enjoy, something you want to pursue further or keep working on, or maybe it's something that you don't really like that much and you just want to kind of put to the side. But until you try the thing that you think would be cool to try, you won't know. You won't know whether you actually like that thing or not. And the sooner you try it, the sooner you'll know whether that's something you want to pursue further or not. But if it's something that is always on your to-do list for someday maybe in the future type of thing, then you'll just have it on your to-do list forever. It'll just sit there, and either you will never end up doing it and then you'll be regretting that, or you'll do it but then you will wish you had done it sooner. Because, for example, let's say you wasted 10 years preparing for this thing and then you finally eventually did it and then you discovered that actually you don't really enjoy it that much and it was just pointless. So actually the earlier you do the thing, the earlier you'll have feedback about how it feels to do that thing, and then you will know whether you want to pursue it further or drop it. And this way you just progress in life so much faster, so much easier. There's no pressure to do it perfectly. I've fallen into this trap myself so many times, thinking that I have to wait until I'm fully prepared, until I know what I'm doing, until I've figured everything out. But actually that's not true. If you have a hunch, if you have a gut feeling and your intuition is telling you that you should be doing something, or you should be trying at least to figure something out, you should just do it right now. Don't wait for something in the future to change, for your circumstances to change, for you to actually do it. For example, in 2020, when things started to go down, I had the choice to either stay in London and start working on my yoga business, because I'm also a yoga teacher, and start going online, teaching online, setting up an online kind of business for yoga. Or I could go back to Bulgaria, which is where I'm from, and spend time with my family and just be with them and with my sister. And I chose to go back, and I'm not saying that I regret that, but it was interesting to observe how I had hunched that, oh, maybe now is the perfect opportunity for me to start teaching online, putting myself out there, and I didn't do that. And I feel like now I would have had more information and I would have been a more rich, more full person if I had done that. And I'm not saying that I regret not being online or not having done it then, but I regret not following my gut and not following my intuition when it was telling me that it would be interesting if I tried this thing. So whenever your intuition is telling you that it would be interesting if you tried something, I think you should follow it. Like this is the number 1 tip from today. For if you're in your 20s and you have a drive from within to try something, just try it. Just do it. Like who cares? Even if you don't do it perfectly, or if you fail, or if it sucks, or if you suck at it, it's fine. Like just do it. Another example from my life would be I started a YouTube channel like 3 or 4 times before, but then after a few videos I just stop, or I think it's cringe, or I'm not sure, or something within me just blocks me, and then I just stop uploading anymore. And then I end up deleting the channel or taking down the videos and stuff. But actually if I had just continued, like it doesn't matter if my videos suck. Honestly, it's fine. Like everyone's videos suck in the beginning unless you're like a really professional filmmaker. And you just keep doing it. If it gives you pleasure, of course. If you try it and you don't like it, then just forget it, like just leave it. But if you tried it and you actually love it and you're kind of scared though and you're afraid to suck and you're afraid of what will people say, then I think you should just still keep going anyway. And then trying new things and improving, and then time will be on your side because you started earlier. You started sooner, earlier when you were younger. Oh, it's always better to start earlier, whatever it is you're doing, I think. So because you started earlier, you have more time to improve and to learn and to get better. So I really think number 1 tip would be just whatever you want to do, do it now. Do it earlier. Start now. Don't wait. Tip number 2 of what I would tell myself at 20 or in my 20s is to write down my thoughts. So it doesn't have to be a journal necessarily. It could be in your notes app or any other app you're using, maybe Notion. I use Notion. I also use an app now called Day One. It's a really cool app as well. And basically the advice here is to just write what you're thinking. Ideas you have, I think ideas are so important, and we all have ideas. We just don't honor them. What I mean by that is we don't write them down. We don't look at our ideas. We don't mull them over. We don't manipulate them. We don't use them. We don't use our ideas. That's why we're not stimulating them. And because we're not stimulating them, we think we don't have them. But actually, if you started to write down your notes or thoughts or ideas, you would generate more, because your subconscious will think, oh, this is important. She's paying attention. She's honoring our ideas and our thoughts. So we are going to give her more. It's really important to write things down. Write what you're thinking. Write what kind of connections you're making in your life, what conclusions you're drawing from your experiences, what your wishes and desires are, what your ambitions are, what you wish to feel in your life, how you want to carry yourself, what you want to do, who you want to meet, what kind of experiences you want to have. Just write everything down. It doesn't have to be a journal, because I feel like there's a lot of pressure around the word journaling and, keeping a journal and journaling practice and all these things. And I think that's extremely important. But if that label kind of keeps you back or holds you back from doing it, then don't say it's a journaling practice. Just say I'm writing down my ideas. I think that feels more freeing, because there's not really any pressure. It's just ideas, just thoughts. Who cares? It's just what I'm thinking right now. And think of it as a process of honoring yourself. You're honoring your ideas. You're giving yourself a voice on paper or on your app, whatever. And I think the more you do that, the more you'll discover how much you have to say, how much you have to offer to the world, how valuable your ideas and thoughts are, and how you're such an amazing person and you deserve to express yourself. And I think this will give you more confidence to step out there and do something with those ideas. Create something, be something, be someone you're proud of. It will also allow you to look back on how far you've come. It's so easy to reflect on our journey and on our growth when we have something to refer back to. If you look at yourself 1 year ago or even 6 months ago, you'll really see a huge change and shift in how you think and what you value and how far you've come, how much you've learned. We learn so much and we grow so much, but we rarely take the time to acknowledge that. I think this practice of writing things down and honoring your ideas, and hopefully then expressing them, but that's another thing. Just start by writing things down, and naturally I think you'll step into the role of being someone who expresses their thoughts and ideas and shares things with the world. Tip number 3 of what I would tell my 20-year-old self, or at least I would advise myself in my 20s, would be to maintain my relationships better. Maintain my relationships with friends, with colleagues, with acquaintances, with friends of friends, with my mentors, with teachers, with just anyone you meet. Try to go deeper into that relationship. Try to sustain it for longer. Try to nurture it. Try to uplift it even. Not just nurture it, sustain it, but actually bring it to the next level. You never know what will happen in the future, who you might need help from, or who you might want to reach out to and connect with. People change, just like we saw in the last point, how you changed so much in 6 months or 1 year, and the notes you took allow you to see that. Well, here, keep in mind that people around you are also changing, and they're also evolving, and they're also growing, and you are growing as well. And even if someone you connect with now, you don't really bond with at first, it doesn't mean that you're not going to bond with them in the future. So I think it's really important to maintain your relationships, even if you feel like right now you're not really connecting with that person. Just stay in touch with them. Just reach out on a semi-regular basis, let's say. And a good way to remember to do that would be in the morning, for example. If you have a 5-minute practice where you sit down and you think about what you're going to do that day, you have maybe some prompts to ask yourself, for example, what is the one thing I want to do today, or one thing I want to achieve. You can also add a prompt to that says, oh, who is the one person I want to reach out to today? This will force you to find someone who you haven't spoken to in a while and just send him a message. Just say, hey, it's been a while, how are you doing? Would love to catch up. Something like that. It doesn't mean that you have to actually go out and meet them. It's just a message to say that you're thinking about them, you haven't forgotten about them, and trust me, it'll make their day. They'll be like, wow, I can't believe this person thought of me, that's so cool. Even if they don't think that, it doesn't matter. It's just a nice practice to force yourself a little bit to reach out to people, to connect with them, to see them, to make them feel seen. And this way, trust me, your life will improve. You will have more people around you. You feel like you're a part of a network. You feel like you have people that you can speak to or reach out to if you need something. Or even if you don't, you still feel like you have a connection and you belong somewhere in the world. A lot of times we can fall into that trap of feeling like just because we know some people, then we're important, then we're cool, then we're somebody. That's not why we're doing this. We're not doing this so that we can extract something from these people or use them for our own gain. That's not it. We're just trying to create a network around ourselves. We're trying to be social creatures. We're trying to be a part of a tribe. And it's really important also to try to find people that are on your level, who you connect with and who you share the same values with and who understand you and who can uplift you. But those are the, let's say, the 5 closest people to you, because we all know the saying that the 5 people you spend the most time with is the person you turn into, let's say. So these 5 people, yes, I do encourage you to make sure that you actually really have a good connection with them and you resonate with them. You're all uplifting each other up. However, with everybody else that you're in contact with, it doesn't mean that you have to have the most amazing connection with them or be best friends. It just means that you're maintaining your relationships with people. It's like a future-proofing type of thing, where you just want to make sure that in 10 years' time, you don't end up alone and miserable and friendless. It's so easy when we grow up and we start working, or we change directions, or we change spheres, we change environments, that we lose the connections we've made in the past. And as an adult, I think it's even harder to make friendships and to meet new people. And so I think it's such a shame if we've allowed ourselves to lose the connections with some of our good friends from the past and from when we were younger. So don't do that. Don't allow yourself to lose connection and lose touch with some of the people that were important to you in the past. And one final note on this point would be to also maintain your relationships with your teachers and with your mentors. And it might be a little bit cringe, especially if you're young and you're like, oh, my teacher, like, who cares? That's lame. But think about them as like normal human beings, and it's their job to teach you, to up-level you, to help you step forward in your life and be on the right foot as you enter society and as you find your job and as you progress in life. And I think they're doing their best. Like, our teachers are really doing their best, and they're trying to help us, showing a bit of appreciation or showing that you are grateful for all the knowledge that they've passed on to you and all the care they've taken. I think that would make their day. That would make them fulfilled in a way where they feel like the work that they've done has had meaning, has had impact. And that's all we ever want, to have meaning and impact in the world. We all want our work to have meaning and to be impactful. So saying thank you, saying you appreciate what your teachers have taught you, what your mentors have helped you with, really goes a long way. And trust me, one day, if you're in that role and in that position of a mentor for someone else, you would love it if your student told you how much they appreciate it. And this is something I also need to work on as well. I'm quite shy and introverted, so it doesn't really come naturally to me to reach out to people necessarily, but this whole point number 3 of maintaining and sustaining your relationships for longer is really something that I also need to work on, and that I am actively trying to work on now. Number 4, from the advice that I would give my 20-year-old self, is to not people please. Try not to do things so that you can make other people happy. The only person you should be trying to please is yourself. The only person you should be trying to make happy is yourself. If you're deciding to start this particular job, for example, because you think your parents would approve or your friends would think you're cool, that's not the way to go, in my opinion. You need to ask yourself, what do I want to do? What would make me happy? What would make me fulfilled? And then go ahead and do that. And trust me, you will feel so much more powerful, so much more empowered and strong and capable of anything if you start honoring yourself. It's a form of self-honoring. You're proving to yourself that you're worthy of listening to yourself. You're proving to yourself that what you want to do is valuable and valid and needs to be respected. In this way, you demonstrate to the world that actually your thoughts and your desires are important and they need to be honored. And this way, other people will see that type of energy and then they will reflect it back to you. So if they see that you're honoring yourself, they will all of a sudden start honoring you as well. But if they see that you're doing everything for everybody else just to please everybody else, then they'll be like, oh, she doesn't honor herself, it's fine. Like, we can step all over her, she'll do whatever we ask, she'll do whatever we kind of manipulate her into doing. Whereas if you're honoring yourself and you're doing everything for you, then no one else will be stepping all over you. They'll actually respect you more. But the most important thing is that you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for other people. Again, you're not honoring your wishes so that other people can respect you. Like, that's again, like, in a way you're surrendering to other people because they still control you. Because you're thinking, oh, if I do this thing and I make it look like I'm honoring myself, then other people will honor me. That's not why you want to do that. Because if you do that, then it's like you're only doing it to get other people's approval again. So just think about what you truly want. And that's one of the hardest questions to answer. The hardest question is like, what do I want? Especially if you have the freedom to decide and it's not like you're forced into a certain path and you have no choice. Sometimes not having a choice is easy. It sucks, but it's easy because you don't really have to think about it that much. You're just doing it and you're not really asking questions, and maybe later down the line you will get to choose more freely. But if you do have a choice when you're young, in your 20s or whatever, to decide what path you want to go down, then it gets gets really hard to choose, because then you really have to decide, okay, am I going to listen to myself, or am I going to allow external influences to affect my choice? And the hardest question to ask and to answer is, what do I want? Because we often don't know what we want. We literally don't know. And that's where self-inquiry and self-awareness comes into play. And it takes a long time to cultivate that, but I think the earlier you start, the better. And simply asking yourself, what do I want, is super powerful and can unlock a lot of new things that you hadn't thought about before. Okay, number 5 from the things that I would tell myself at 20 or in my 20s would be to define what kind of life you want. Take the time to sit down, think about what do I want. Basically, you're asking yourself, how do I want my life to look like? What kind of life do I want to live? Like, what kind of relationships do I want to have? What kind of job do I want to have? How do I want to spend my days? How do I want to feel during my days? What does an ideal week look like for me? If you take the time to define what you want out of life, then your eyes will be opened to a lot more opportunities that match your definition of what you want your life to look like. But if you go around life, if you live your life not knowing what you want or how you want your life to unfold, then you're kind of letting other people decide for you, because other people will pile onto you things and tasks and pull you here and there. You'll just be scattered. You'll just be doing what everybody else wants, or you'll just be following the crowd, or you'll just be kind of going with the flow. But the flow is created by other people. It's not created by you. And so this way you're kind of floating in life aimlessly. You're just passing time, passing by, like no real direction. But if you take the time to define what it is you truly want, then you'll be much more focused, much more centered, and you'll be following a certain path that you have defined. It's not some path that some other person has defined or multiple people and you're just being pulled here and there. You're actually following one path that you want to define and create. And it's okay if you don't know, but just opening that conversation up and declaring that you are wanting to define that path will already start to give you more clarity. And whatever you try to focus on is what will come to you. So if you're deciding to focus on clarifying your vision for your life, then your eyes will be opened to the possibilities. You will be seeing what other people are doing. You will be thinking, oh, is this something I want to do? Is it not something I want to do? Do I want to emulate what this person is doing and the qualities and the values that they have? Or do I want to stay away from this person? And just seeing what other people are doing and then seeing what you want to pull and incorporate into your own life. Once you have a clear vision for what you want in your life, then you can start to embody that on a day-to-day basis. You just show up and you live as if you had already created the vision that you've been envisioned. So for example, if you want to be a content creator or a business owner or someone who helps other people in some capacity, like let's say you run a charity, or let's say you've created this new technology that is helping the world in some other way. It doesn't matter, whatever vision you have, just start to live as if that's already true. And yes, I know this is kind of manifestation, but I don't really like that word necessarily, manifestation. I just think of it as more of you creating your life. Like you're living the life that you can envision. You're living your vision already. And I think that's beautiful, because why should you wait until the future, at some point in the distant future, for things to happen so that you can then feel a certain way? Like you can start feeling that way right now. Like no one's stopping you. And we have to decide that we want to start now. You can't be thinking, oh, at some point in the future, when things align, when I have my ducks in a row, when this and this happens, then I will be doing that, or then I'll be feeling that way. No, you can start now. And just imagine, it's so much fun. Like it's so cool to already live the passion and the dream and the vision that you have. Just do it now. And like point number 1, just do it now. Like whatever thing you want to do it now. Do it today. Like start. Ask yourself, what is the one small thing that I can do right now that will move the needle, that will get me further and closer to my dream and to my vision? How can I show up in a way that is already as someone who has arrived and who is living that dream and that vision? Okay, so that's everything from me for today. These 5 tips, these 5 lessons that I wish I had learned earlier, that I wish I had known when I was 20 or in my 20s. And some of them I feel like I'm still learning today. And also, of course, if you're not 20, you're in your 20s and you're just watching this video now, it's fine, like who cares? We're all learning when we are ready. So if you're watching this video and you're 30, that's when you're ready. And also me, when I learned these lessons is when I was ready. If you're 20 and you're watching this video, this is when you're ready. We're all different. We all have different lives and different experiences, and we're all ready to receive certain information in different times of our life. So the fact that you're watching this video now means you're ready to level up and to live your best life and to create your vision and live your vision. So I encourage you to follow these tips. Just write down your thoughts as well, because your own thoughts and your own lessons and reflections are equally valuable, if not more. In fact, much more, I'm sure, than mine. And when you reflect on your own dreams and visions, then you will honor them, and then you will be much more likely to create them and step into them. Alright, enough rambling from me. I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope you implement these tips. If you want to watch more of my content, here is an amazing video that I created about the 1 habit that you need to build in order to improve your relationships forever. If you want to check that out. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video. And of course, if you enjoy content around personal development, self-help, growth, spirituality, mindset, all that stuff, I would love it if you could subscribe to my channel. And I will see you in my next video. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.